Welcome, guys. Just hooped in to say, well, I'm eager to say this match is pretty much, these two matches are looking great. Got two great matches set, and I mean, not gonna say they are set, they're kind of on tap, these two matches between Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Jailton Almeida. Also, Aljamain announced on his YouTube channel that he will be fighting Henry Cejudo for the title, which I personally don't believe. I personally don't believe he will be really fighting Henry Cejudo for the title because we need to see Henry Cejudo fighting in the first place. Yeah, we really, sorry, just took a bit of water. We really need Henry Cejudo to see Henry Cejudo fighting in the first place, as I have a dilemma. I have a dilemma whether Henry Cejudo will really fight. Like with Cejudo, everything is pretty much unknown since he retired. I don't believe him anymore since he retired. So that's all I can say. I don't believe that guy anymore. I don't believe that guy anymore, and I don't know what to think about him really. Got no idea what to think about Henry Cejudo, and I've got no idea on what should I think of that fight, because for me that fight pretty much, does it make sense? No, no. Mm-mm. Like imagine Aljamain Sterling fighting at May. Like yeah, really, Aljo to fight in May. Mm-mm. Makes no sense to me. No, in the first place, it pretty much makes no sense to me, as I don't trust Henry Cejudo. And people are asking me, Vlad, why didn't you make an early prediction for that fight, etc. Guys, that fight is just a hint. It's not official yet. And why would I make a prediction of something that is not official? When the fight is officially set, that is a whole different story. When you set something officially, but when it's not set officially, why would I make an early prediction and waste my time on that? I mean, I also have a soul. I can also rest and recover. That's all I can say. Likewise, why would I in the first place do something like that? I'm not going to announce the fight that is not 100% secure. And Jairzinho Rozenstruik will be, well, that is also on tap. The fight between Jairzinho Rozenstruik on one side and Jailton Almeida on the other side. But I think if this fight comes to fruition, that it's a death trap, a death sentence for Jairzinho Rozenstruik, as Jairzinho Rozenstruik might have a hard time here. Jailton Almeida is the dark horse of the division, and if Jailton Almeida is able to drag this combat to the ground, it's going to be a big, big problem, especially because of the fact that Jailton Almeida is a real dark horse. Like, if he drags that fight to the ground, we can say bye-bye to Jairzinho Rozenstruik. We can really say bye-bye to Jairzinho, and I don't see Jairzinho winning that fight also. I just have a feeling Jairzinho Rozenstruik might actually pull it out. I don't think it's gonna end well for him in the first place. That's the first problem we are going to face. And the second problem is the fact that Jairzinho Rozenstruik is a fearsome striker, and that's basically it. He is a fearsome striker, and that's it. How about ground game? How about GMP? How about submission defense? Do we know enough about Jairzinho Rozenstruik? No, we don't. We know nothing about him. If we're gonna be honest, we know nothing about Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and I can only I can only say that Jairzinho Rozenstruik, for me at least, is a tough boy, tough guy, tough. opponent, and the knockout artist who sleeps people in the first minute of the first round. That's what I can say about Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But how about his ground game? How about his submission offense defense? Can Jailton Almeida handle his strikes? It's $1 million question. Can Almeida finish him on the ground? Oh yeah, absolutely. He can. I'll be back in 1 minute. Just I forgot something. 1 second. Već spavam posao. Sorry, guys, I just forgot to take meds. There we go. About these two upcoming fights, I have a feeling that Sterling versus Cejudo, for me at least, is one of the most dangerous combats the world is going to see now. Why? Aljamain Sterling is very good in angling, and Aljamain Sterling is very good at changing angles, forcing his opponent to march forward, forcing his opponent to move sideways, to fish him. He can fight from both guards, and I think this might actually be a big problem for any opponent who chooses to stand and bang with him. I really think it's going to be a big opponent. And on the other side, Cejudo is a pressure fighter, and Henry Cejudo will be trying. Any bets this week? Yes, I do have bets. I have Jasmine Jasudevicius versus Gabriela Fernandez over 2.5. I have O'Day Osborne versus Charles Johnson fight not going the distance. And I've got Krylov versus Penn. The fight will not go the distance. Do you have any of bets? I only have 3 this week. Pretty much of a tricky card though. You? Also, I want to say that big problem is going to be seen for Henry Cejudo if Aljamain Sterling starts moving laterally, if he starts changing angles, and if he starts slowing the game down like he did in his last fight. That might actually be a very big problem for anybody who's going to fight against him. Haven't put any on yet, but I am thinking Muniz and Suarez. Go for it, man. I agree about Muniz. I agree about Suarez. I didn't want to bet on Suarez because it's minus 750. But maybe I'm going to make that bet, but I didn't want to make it. Montana De La Rosa has a horrible TDD, horrible takedown defense, and her opponent, yeah, that's a dream fight for her. Jeremiah Pons is the best dog this week. Boxer. Actually, I think that fight will not go the distance, man. Very hard fight to call. But he is a good underdog. This is like a 50-50 to me. I think he can defeat the Puerto Rican guy. Haven't put... I agree about Muniz winning the fight. Muniz is heavy favorite. So, yeah, Muniz is a heavy favorite against Brendan Allen. And if Muniz drags the fight to the ground, I think it's going to be night for Brendan Allen. That's how I see that fight coming. Bet365 has him at plus 300. Pons is plus 300. Why, man? Why plus 300? Are they insane? Pons is not a dumbass. They're treating him like he's a dumbass, man. I mean, Matthias is good, but it's not like... It's like a game of a cat and mouse. Wow. I don't get it. Muniz minus 200. Okay, I agree about Muniz. And with Suarez minus 700, I think you're going to get a decent plus value. Suarez is minus 720 at my bookie. I don't know which bookie you're using though, but at my bookie it's minus 720. I'm using one local bookie, but I'm always checking bestfightodds.com. So It depends on which bookie are you using, though. Bet365 also works in my state, so that's one and only bookie that works like in every single state of the world. Ponce's range punching will cause issues for Matias. Whenever someone can establish distance on Matias, he struggles. I know. That's why I didn't have balls to pick Matias for that fight. And I'm not hiding that. I'm not ashamed of that. Your argument is 100% on point. Plus, Ponce has better angling than Matias, so one of the reasons why I didn't pick Matias to win. Like, I hope Matias should win according to the bookies, but for boxing, I never take a look at the odds. And also for MMA, I'm trying not to look at the odds. Badu versus Makabu. Badu Jack to win via split decision or majority decision or close unanimous. I think Badu to win, but man, Makabu is pretty much underrated. I have Jack to win, but Jack to win via close decision. If the fight goes the distance, I doubt they're going to let Jack lose. Also, when we're already discussing that fight card, I have a feeling Jake Paul is going to defeat Tommy Fury. Now people are going to say I'm insane, and I can accept that criticism to some point, but I have a feeling that Jake Paul is gonna defeat Tommy Fury, especially considering who was he fighting. He was fighting a guy with a score of 0-47 and a guy with a score of 2-41, 2 KOs, I believe. I think Jake by late KO. I also think Jake has good chances to defeat Fury, and I know I'm going to get heavily criticized because of that, but it's life. It's life. It can't always be nice towards everybody, and I also want to say this is like for me in the first place, this is surprising. This is surprising. This is surprising. Surprising to see how everything gonna happen, what's gonna go, what's gonna be like. This boxing weekend, I understand why this guy is a heavy favorite, why like Matias is heavy favorite, but Ponce is pretty much underestimated. Jake will lose the early rounds, I think, because of Fury's weird, unorthodox, high-paced pressure style, but he'll keep leaving openings for counters. Jake is having very decent counters for a YouTuber. I heavily agree that Jake is having very decent counters for a YouTuber, and he learned to box really well. And Tommy Fury is heavily overrated. Like, he's just a shadow of his brother, and he's not made of iron like his brother. He's not made of concrete, or he doesn't have a concrete chin. No, he doesn't. I just think his chin hasn't been tested yet, and against Jake, we will see whether his chin can be tested. And Anderson Silva, for example, exposed Jake Paul. Tyron Woodley also exposed him. Jake's chin is questionable, but it can take a beating, and I don't think Fury is way better than Anderson Silva. I don't see him as a way better boxer than Anderson Silva. I think Fury has good natural talent for boxing, but he just looks messy and inaccurate. And he doesn't train on a regular basis, which is another reason to believe that, he's built like Arnold Barboza Jr. Absolutely. And his boxing skills are pretty much good, but he doesn't want to train them regularly. That is one of the problems he is going to face every single time. Like, when you don't train regularly, it might give you a hard time, which to some point it might give you a hard time, and it might be messy, be tough. If he had the shot selection Barboza Jr., he'd be a genuine prospect in boxing. Forget Jake Paul. Barboza Jr. had pretty much unfair shot selection if you're gonna look realistic. if you're gonna watch realistically at that aspect of the game, I think he pretty much didn't have the nice shot selection. Man, I have a feeling that promoters didn't want Arnold Barboza Jr. to become the champ, and he had a potential, but maybe he wasn't bringing that much money, maybe he wasn't bringing that much hype, or who knows, whatever. Who knows what was the reason, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't buying a hype, and I assume because of that they didn't. They didn't want Arnold Barboza Jr. To become the champ. Barboza is high volume combinations at range, exactly how Fury should be fighting. I don't think Fury will be following high volume combinations at range. I think Fury is going to throw the pressure right off the bat. I think he is going to be pressure right off the bat as soon as the bell rings. Fury messes up his combinations by clinching after a couple of punches. Not only clinching, he pressures, either clinches or goes double deck. He doesn't want to continue attacking. I don't think that guy has a killer instinct, if you know what I mean by that. Like in boxing, in MMA, killer instinct plays a vital role, and I don't see this guy having a killer instinct here. Like, if you want to be a good boxer, but a really, really, really good boxer, you need to have that killer instinct. And if you don't have a good killer instinct, that might ricochet over your head, you know. I really don't see Fury survive in a dogfight either. Yes, he is the underdog, which is surprising to me. No, Tyson Fury is a whole different level. Tyson Fury can survive everything. Like, even when he used to be the underdog, he fought well. Even when he was the underdog, he was fighting well. You know, that's what I've got to say. Even when he was an underdog, he was fighting really, really well. Like, Tommy Fury is just a shade, just a bad shadow of his brother. You know, just pale shadow, dying shadow of his brother. By dogfight, I mean a hard, scrappy fight. I understand. I understand what is like a dogfight. I know this is like when you have a lot of scrapping in the fight, and when the fight is high paced, high pressure. I think Drake is going to fight very much defensively, and I think Fury is going to waste all of his energy within the first 3 or 4, eventually 5 rounds. I think he's going to waste all of his energy. He is not a fighter like Anderson Silva who is going to fight technically with you, because with Fury that is not going to happen. Fury believes in the power of a vicious early KO, and you've seen how judges were protecting him in the early stages of his career. I doubt he is going to be that much protected at this stage of his career. I just don't see him being that much protected at this stage of his career. I just think judges are going to score fair here, and if they score fair, there's no way he's going to defeat Jake Paul in an 8-round combat. Jake has always had issues with pressure. I think Tommy has the capability to beat Jake. Well, if he has good cardio, then the answer would have been yes, but like Tommy fighting for 8 rounds, I don't see a good cardio coming, especially in that cruiserweight. Like, there aren't many cruiserweight fighters with a very, very good cardio. There aren't many cruiserweight fighters with very, very good cardio. Tommy just leaves himself open too much. Yeah, he is fighting with his hands like this, like this. That is absolutely true. Leaving himself too open, too exposed. But to some point, who knows why that could be good? That could be good and bad. I'll be honest with you. To some point, that could be good and bad. It could be good if you want to risk with your opponent, if you want to irritate him to attack you, and if you don't want to let your opponent attack, well, then you're creating a problem by leaving yourself too open, because if you leave yourself too open for counters, it's a death penalty for you. It's a death sentence. Like, if you really, really leave yourself too open, that really is a death sentence and a death penalty for yourself. At least I see it coming that way. Like for me at least, it would have been a death trap, like leaving myself too open, especially to counter strikers like Jake Paul. I don't see it going well for him. If you're leaving yourself open to attackers, it's okay, but like counter strikers, nah. If you remember Jake fighting even his worst opponents like Askren and Nate Robinson, he was backing up almost instantly. Yeah, but that's him. He's a defensive minded fighter, and I've got nothing against it. I remember when he was fighting Nate Robinson, he was constantly backpedaling. Even against Askren, he was backpedaling. I don't like to fight guys who constantly backpedal because I'm one of them. And I'm one of the guys who constantly backpedal, and that is something I pretty much know. Like backpedaling is creating a lot of problems. You must constantly chase somebody, and if you're chasing, you are leaving yourself open and vulnerable to strikes. So that is going to be a massive problem for you. Jake Paul is very good defensively, and people are underestimating his defensive ability. Like people pretty much underestimate his defensive ability. Even against Tyrone Woodley, Tyrone Woodley was the guy under pressure. Tyrone Woodley was the guy in the action. He was constantly attacking, while Jake was having a whole different politics. He was pushing a whole different game. He was taking part in a very much different game, and he didn't try to engage that much. Jake's a mover, but he shouldn't be backing up against someone like Askren. Stand your ground. He's not gonna stand his ground. He is not gonna stand his ground, and a scrappy fight, dog fight would be fine for Jake as long as he backpedals. Don't see Jake standing his ground against Fury. That's the only way I see Fury winning. Fury will need a very good cardio if he wants to push the pace for 8 rounds. No, pushing the pace for 8 rounds, it's not easy. It's never easy to push the pace for 8 rounds. It's very hard actually. Pushing the pace for 8 rounds. It's extremely hard. It's extremely hard to push the pace for 4 rounds. And even in a 4 round fight, I've seen Tommy Fury guessing in round 4 when he was pushing the pace for 4 rounds. So I think it pretty much makes sense. Like when we say that Jake Paul has greater chances of a victory against this opponent. If Fury just keeps his hands up as he closes the distance, keeps Jake against the ropes, he can win, but I don't think he can. No, he's gonna go like this and he's gonna drop his hands. He's gonna go like this and he's gonna drop his hands. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna drop his hands sooner or later, I guarantee you that. Sooner or later, he's gonna drop his hands. Because that's him. That's just him, man. Anyways, gotta go. See ya, Vlad. No probs, man. Thank you so much for hooping the stream. We'll be live for a few more minutes. And also, I wanted to say, like, I think Aljo is very much technical fight for Henry Cejudo, and I don't think Aljo will be an easy fight like many people believe. I don't think Aljo is going to be an easy fight for Henry Cejudo. I actually see Aljo winning because of his constant activity. And Henry Cejudo been inactive for a while, but you never know. If he comes ready and prepared, we might see fireworks coming. On the other side, Jailton Almeida versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, the safest bet would be, if that kind of fight comes to fruition, the safest bet would be the fight will not go the distance. But if you're going to talk some different bet, you can play safe by also picking Almeida to win. But Almeida via submission, Almeida inside the distance, that would also be a nice picky play. And thank you all for watching. I can't stay more because I'm sleepy. I have some obligations tomorrow, and catch you. Catch you later. Have a great day, everyone, and goodbye. Was a great day with you.